What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mike Dolce Show. We have a controversial episode for you today discussing Nate Diaz versus Khamzat. You hear that, everybody? People giving me grief for mispronouncing Khamzat's name yesterday. We also have the audio fix, which you'll appreciate. We got it all going on for you. But today, controversial take. We're going to call some people out regarding the Nate Diaz versus Khamzat Chimaev fight coming up this weekend, UFC 279. First, let's jump right into it. But click the links below. Get that Casandrino's extra virgin olive oil. Get your blood work checked at MarekHealth.com. And also, certified Piedmontese, stock your freezer the same way I stock mine. Plus, get certified, become a Dolce Diet certified coach, and one-on-one consults and coaching calls all down below. Now, let's get straight into the dirty of it all. And I'm going to bring on my buddy, Mr. Luke Thomas. Now, Luke isn't on the show, but Luke has said some things that I actually took offense with regarding Nate Diaz versus Khamzat. I want you to hear it, and then we're going to discuss it, but I have a little surprise for you that nobody's discussing right now. Let's hear what Mr. Thomas has to say. Oh, oops. There we go. Hold on. And there we go, Luke. All right, here we go.
It appears to me that the UFC wants to drag Nate far past his prime, punish him with the worst possible matchups, then release him with diminished star power so he can't make much money after the UFC. It comes across as spiteful as all hell. Right. I've said this before. This is not the first time they've done this. Like when Arlovsky was on the last fight of his contract and everyone knew he was going to Affliction, they tried to give him the next best thing, what they thought was the guy who was a rising phenom at the time, and they buried him on the prelims just to fucking stick it to him, and it didn't work. But like, let's assume that they're doing that to Nate, right? The question would be, is this the first time the UFC has done this? Not even close. So, why would this be out of character when organizationally we have seen this kind of behavior previously? You ever seen that meme where it's like James Franco and he's got the noose around his neck and he's like, first time? Seems like a lot of fans are like looking across and seeing James Franco. It ain't the first time.
All right, so now let's stop this right there. And I want to point out what Luke was saying. And Luke has made some other comments here.
And that people care about. And Joshua is still.
I like Luke. Luke and I get along. We disagree in a lot of areas. And I want to talk to him soon about fighter pay because I think he's got a really bad take on fighter pay. And I have some great insight to share, having been behind the scenes with the UFC. But that's for another video. What he's talking about is the UFC booking Nate Diaz on his last fight before he enters free agency against Khamzat Chimaev. And Luke is basically saying, using the James Franco analogy, that the UFC is sending Nate to be martyred. They're sending Nate to be murdered. They're punishing Nate for not complying with what the UFC wanted. Now, I'm bothered by this for two particular reasons. Number one, the UFC signs the checks, man. The UFC signs the checks. Why would the UFC, as intelligent men that we are, why would the UFC make a business decision that is not in their best business interests? Why would they take someone who's been rather difficult? And I have some behind the scenes on Nate's contract negotiations you've never heard before. Let me talk about that briefly. Nate Diaz had a deal on the table with the UFC that would have made him the highest paid fighter in the organization, on par with Conor McGregor. And Nate turned it down. So it's not like the UFC was not willing to pay. Let's be clear here. And I know, Luke, I know you talk about the UFC doesn't want to pay. The UFC was going to pay. They were ready to pay. Nate, being Nate, and that's his right as a man, Nate wants to do his own thing. That's cool. The UFC wanted to pay. Nate would have been the highest paid fighter in the UFC, whose name isn't Conor McGregor. He would have been on par with Conor McGregor. Nate Diaz would be earning 8 figures per year inside the UFC. He turned it down. And that's his right. So let's not act like the UFC was being stingy with the coin. Nate dragged them so deep into negotiations, they gave up the house to keep him. Nate didn't want to stay. He wants to test free agency, and that's his right, and that's cool. Good for him. But then the UFC says, fine, you're a superstar. You're on the way out. We need another superstar. We got this Khazmat kid. Let's match you two up. You're both exciting. Khamzat's on the way up. Nate's on the way out. Let's try and churn this a little bit. Can we make some magic here? Because now the UFC is betting big. If Khamzat loses, well, his star is tarnished forever. If Khamzat loses, Nate wins. Nate enters free agency, the biggest free agent in the history of MMA. That's the business. Now, the statement that Nate is being, well, the inference that Nate is going out there to be hung, to be murdered, to be sacrificed, to be slaughtered is a disrespect against Nathan Diaz. It's a disrespect against Nate, and that's why I get pissed. I like Nate. I'm not Nate's best friend. I'm friendly with Nate. When Nate and I see each other in Whole Foods, Nate and I stop, and we chat it up for a while. When we see each other in the lobby, we stop. We talk. I like Nate. I'm a fan of his career. I like Nate as a human being. I like Nate as a man. I like knowing Nate Diaz is walking the planet at the same time that I am. I'm pissed off at how disrespected Nate has been by Luke Thomas, by Leon Edwards, by my friend Ariel Helwani to a degree, by other well-known MMA pundits who appear to have a vendetta against the UFC so large it blurs their logic. This is a business. This is the fight sport. This is not the patty cake friend game. These guys are making millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Khamzat's about to. Nate is. Okay? Nate turned down tens of millions of dollars because he's a grown-ass man and he can. But do not disrespect the warrior spirit, the fighting ability of Nathan Diaz. Now, two valid people say, oh, but it's going to be a murder. It's going to be a slaughter. Guess what? Guess what? Nate Diaz almost just beat Leon Edwards, the reigning UFC welterweight world champion. So are you saying, MMA pundits, naysayers, are you saying that Khamzat Chimaev is already better than Leon Edwards, the reigning UFC welterweight world champion? Do you think that Khamzat is going to totally destroy Nate Diaz when the reigning UFC welterweight world champion Leon Edwards could not? Do you see the cognitive dissonance here? Individuals have such a hatred for the UFC. They refuse to accept Nate Diaz's gangsterness. Now, very briefly, to not trigger any issues. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Bring this up here because you need to see this. This is round 5, the last minute. This is 24 minutes. This is 24 minutes into a 5-round fight. Nathan Diaz versus Leon Edwards. At minute 24, watch what Nate does to Leon.
Oh,
Boom!
my God! No way!
I stop it there to not get flagged. But as Nate goes on, now this is just stills, screenshots. Nate beats the living hell out of Leon Edwards. Has him out on his feet at minute 24. Khamzat Chimaev has never gone 5 rounds. In fact, Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns, a fight he won a decision in 3 rounds. Khamzat Chimaev was gassed the F out 7 minutes into that fight. 7 minutes into this fight, Khamzat was gassed out. Nate Diaz doesn't even start warming up until round 3. My only point here, ladies and gentlemen, why is everyone disrespecting Nate Diaz while pretending to care about him? Nate Diaz is a prize fighter under the UFC banner since 2006. 16 years Nate Diaz has been in the UFC. And people are discounting him, disrespecting him, and his manhood, his warrior spirit, his legitimate fighting ability, his 3-round, 5-round experience, his finishing abilities, his ring generalship, his legendary endurance. People are discounting him. That bothers me. What do you guys think about this? I want to hear it. Leave comments below. Let's discuss this. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong for supporting Nate Diaz, for believing in Nate Diaz, for allowing Nate Diaz to walk into the octagon, to people cheering for him, believing he can win? Not, to Luke Thomas's point, people standing in the crowd crying a single tear because Nate's going to be executed? I don't get that, Luke. I don't get that, man. I think that's disrespectful to Nate. It's disrespectful to the game. It's disrespectful to the sport. Like, everybody hates the UFC. I don't understand why, because everybody who hates the UFC is making fucking money off the UFC. Everyone who hates on the UFC, their entire career is supported by the UFC. They don't see the irony in this. And I like Luke. I do. I think he's a good guy. I think his points are important. And he has a lot of good takes. He's also got some bad takes. This Nate Diaz thing is a bad take. Now, that video I showed you, that's got 300,000 some odd views. It's probably got millions of views because that's just one channel. Probably got millions of views. So, I mean, he's influencing a lot of the sentiment behind Nate Diaz. And then there's many others out there that are parroting similar statements. And I don't get it. Nate Diaz is going to walk in there with a mouthpiece on, cup in his shorts, 4-ounce fucking gloves, and so is Khazmat. They're going to lock that octagon door, and they're going to fucking go to work for 25 minutes. Give Nate Diaz the fucking respect that he deserves. Win, lose, or draw, that dude is going in there to fucking throw down, as he has done, what, 30 times before? Let's see this. 33 times. Nate Diaz, 20-13. 20-13. Wins over Conor McGregor. 2 division world champion Conor McGregor. Wins over former UFC lightweight world champion Anthony Pettis. Wins over Michael Johnson. Gray Maynard, 2-time #1 contender. Gray Maynard. Jim Miller wins over Jim Miller, the winningest fighter in UFC history. Wins over Takanori Gomi. Man, I'm going through Nate's record right now. Apologize for not having that on screen, just very simply. Nate Diaz, man. Nate Diaz has fought them all. Fought them all. Two, three. 3-3 in his last 6. Damn near beat the current champ. Lost on cuts to Masvidal. Pettis beat Pettis' ass. Decision loss to Conor, which was iffy. Submitted Conor. Come on now. Put some respect on Nate Diaz's name, everybody. Everybody, put some respect on Nate Diaz's name. What do you guys think? Leave comments below. I appreciate you. Until next time. Boom.